back to this channel where we spread love and positive vibes. I first thank our new subscribers and our returning subscribers for actually subscribing to our channel, commenting, liking our videos. We do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and we love you so much. Today, I'm going to actually tell you a very sad story and the lessons we can learn from it. I came across this United Kingdom woman, a woman who stays in UK, but she's born and raised in Jamaica. And this woman was actually working in the United States of America, and I want to believe she had worked so hard and accumulated some wealth in UK and even in Jamaica. Because according to sources, it is said that she had bought a house in United Kingdom and she had also bought a house in Jamaica, and she had opened also a business in Jamaica. And I don't want to narrate the story about this woman. I want to first say condolences to the family of this woman, to the friends of this woman, both in UK and Jamaica, and to the children of this woman. It is very sad. This woman was 67 years old and she was actually married to a young Jamaican man who was 27 years old. I don't want to talk about age because you always find very old men marrying very young girls. So a woman can actually fall in love with a young man, and therefore I don't want to condemn her for actually moving on with this man and actually taking a step to marry this man. And therefore, this lady, who was actually 67-year-old, and it is said that the lady has 3 girls, and of course the 3 girls must be adults, and of course she was married to this 27-year-old man, Jamaican man. This young man, according to sources, he is a criminal. He was in and out of prison many times. But this woman did not know. So I want you to take keen in the fact that this lady dated this man, married this man, but she didn't know that the guy was a criminal. Actually, according to what I found, the lady was introduced to this young man by the stepfather of this young man. The young man had gone to repair a bathroom for the stepfather. And there in the stepfather's house, he met this lady who is from UK, and the rough story started there. And they actually related for a time, and then they moved in together and started staying together. This young man was staying in a house bought by this lady, and he was actually running a business that was kept, or rather that was funded by this lady. So one thing I want you to learn, there is something about this relationship. One, this young man, it's like he completely was relying on the old woman money. He was relying on the business that had actually been funded by this lady, and he was staying in the house that had been built by this lady in Jamaica. And therefore they stayed together as long as this woman was in Jamaica. And it is said this woman could travel from UK to Jamaica very many times. And she could always carry 5 suitcases and 2 forts. I want to highlight that because we'll come to that later. And therefore, this time, she came just like she comes to Jamaica. And I'm sure she came to her house, which is built in West Moran. Because I tend to think this is where the house was, because it said she was found in West Moran. And therefore, she came to her house, and I'm sure she met this husband who was a 27-year-old and a jailbird. He could come out of jail and return to jail. He was a criminal, in short. And therefore, when this lady arrived, it took some time for the family to realize that this lady cannot be found. She just vanished. She just disappeared. And therefore, a search was done to find out where this lady is. And of course, the first suspect is the husband, because from the airport, she could actually come to the house where the husband was staying. And therefore, on searching the compound where the house was, she was found dead and buried in a shallow grave. You can imagine. I don't want to preempt or rather to say that this guy killed the lady because investigations are ongoing. But what is shocking is that this lady was killed and put in a shallow grave where she was found. And by the time she was found, her 5 suitcases were not found. Her 2 phones were not found, according to the sources I accumulated. And therefore my question is, who killed this lady? And where did her belongings disappear to? And it is said that it's like this young man was actually relying on the money provided by this lady who was working in United States of America. There are so many lessons that we can learn from this woman. And there is also another version that says this woman came to know that the young man was a criminal. And I think that when she realized the young man was a criminal, she took the initiative of asking him. And therefore, when she asked the young man whether he was a criminal, it's like the young man actually told her to come to Jamaica so that maybe he can explain the situation to her. And this is very, very risky to the women who are listening to me. And also to the men, because it can also happen to men. There is this case in Kenya where a young lady dated a criminal boyfriend. And the young lady was actually doing nursing, I think medicine, in one of the colleges in Kenya. And therefore, this young woman came to learn that the boyfriend was a criminal. Instead of keeping quiet and cut the relationship between her and the man, she actually confronted the man and asked him whether he was a criminal. And these criminals are very, very sly. And they are heartless. I want to say that because it's true. And therefore, this man invited the young lady to come to his house so that he can explain to her. And I tend to think this is the same thing that happened to, I think the lady is called Hudson. I think it is the same case. So when this woman confronted the young man to ask him whether he's a criminal, I think the young man invited the woman to come to Jamaica so that he can explain to her, just like this young man in Kenya did to the girlfriend. And when the girlfriend arrived, actually they were living near where I stay. And therefore, when the girl arrived in the flat where the young man was staying, the young man together with the friends killed the girl and went and threw her in a forest. And I want to believe that this is what happened to this lady. Therefore, when she arrived, she learned that the young man she was dating is actually a criminal. Remember I told you earlier, they were introduced to each other by the stepfather to this young man. And I wonder why. I cannot blame the stepfather because this lady had a choice to agree or not to agree. But the fact that the stepfather introduced this young man to the woman, knowing that this young man is a criminal, was wrong. And therefore, I think when this lady arrived in the house, she was killed and buried in the shallow grave. And it is said that the items she was carrying, the property she was carrying, in the 5 suitcases she used to carry, and the 2 phones she used to carry, disappeared. They could not be found. I also saw somebody commenting, and I don't want to believe in that, because no one has the right to take somebody's life, even if they are of age differences, even if the person is older than you or younger than you. Every person deserves to live their lives. And to take somebody's life away, it was uncalled for. It was uncouth. It was very wicked of this young man. Somebody was talking about that this young man, apart from this lady, he had a girlfriend who was pregnant. And it looks like this girlfriend who was pregnant went for postnatal clinic and was told she was HIV positive. And it is said that the young man was also HIV positive, but the status of this woman from UK was unknown. So we don't know whether the boyfriend realized that this lady has known that he's a criminal, and that he also realized they were HIV positive. We cannot conclude who brought the disease to whom, because this man also could be the one who was spreading the disease, or any of them. You cannot know unless the people who are involved in all this comes and clears the situation. And therefore, that is the other version of the story I saw. And I want to say, there are some lessons that we can learn from this case. One of them, when you want to move in, or rather to date someone, it's very, very important to know their background. It doesn't matter whether it is a man or a woman. Get to know where these people come from. Get to know their history. Get to know their parents. Get to know their way of life. Get to know who they are. Before you go to the extent of actually marrying them and staying with them, remember that this person you are staying with them for a lifetime. It's a lifetime decision. And therefore it is very, very important to find out their history, to find out where they come from, to find out their beliefs, to find out about the family members and what they do. Number 2, that is lesson number 1 we should learn from this case. Number 2, do not be in a rush to get to, or rather to get to move in with a person. First, get to know them, story by story. Take your time. Learn about these people. Learn about who they are, the work they do, their beliefs, their mindset. Because for a person to kill, that is a person whose conscience is absolutely dead. Relate with them. Know their anger issues. Do not rush to enter into somebody's house when you have not learned about them, when you have not known who they are, when you have not known their thoughts and their anger issues. Get to learn them. So that is number 2 lesson. Take your time. Do not be in a rush. Do not be in a hurry. Because I'm sure this lady did not take time to learn about this gentleman. Because if she took time, she would have learned in the process about the criminality of this young man. She would have known that this guy is a criminal. But I think she just came and found a handsome young man, and she didn't want to go ahead and investigate about him, and she went ahead to marry this guy. And most of these young people, if they are actually marrying old women, it means they are doing it for money, not for love. That is the other lesson to learn. Do not be in a hurry to build for them houses, to invest in them, to actually give them money or fund them. Because it's said that this lady had actually bought a car for this gentleman, and the car was registered under the name of this man. She had also built a house, and the man had moved in. She had also invested in a business, and the man was the one running the business. So before you invest so much in someone, It's good to know them. Don't be in a rush to invest on someone to actually impress. Let me use the word impress. Someone that you don't know, that you have not related with them for long, to understand them. Because one thing I know, if you invest in somebody too much and they realize their finances are at stake, especially when this gentleman came to learn that the lady had learned that he's a criminal, the most sensible thing he could do is to eliminate this woman so that the things he had accumulated through this woman are not taken away. So don't be in a rush to invest on someone. It's like the way we are told, when somebody pays insurance for you, life insurance, they can actually kill you so that they can be paid. So get to know the people. What kind of people are they? Are they people who are sensitive to human feelings, to human life, before you get involved so much that you cannot remove yourself from that situation? So it is said that this lady had actually bought a car for this gentleman and had actually written the name of the gentleman in the registration of the vehicle, in the logbook. So it is very, very important to learn people before you invest heavily on them. And the other lesson is that it's good to believe in ourselves. Though the years are advanced, though you don't have somebody in your life, it's good to know that God has a plan concerning you. Don't feel that you are not human enough because you don't have someone and the years have advanced. Maybe you could be happy alone. I'm not saying it's good to be alone, but rather than dying such a painful death, it's better to be alone. And therefore, many ladies, when they actually reach certain ages, they become desperate. They lose hope. They see as if they'll never get someone. And when someone presents themselves, you don't want to reason. You don't want to use your brain. You don't want to argue out. And when you lose your cool, you are bound to enter into a relationship that can bring tragedy. So it is very, very important to be self-confident of yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe that God has good plans concerning you. Don't be in a hurry because years have advanced. Years have gone. It's better to be alone than to end up in the grave. You would rather be alone than to end up in the grave. I think that is all I have to say today. A very, very sad case. A very, very sad case. And once again, I want to say condolences to the family, to the friends, to the people that this woman was relating to in Jamaica and in the United States of America. A very sad story. I hope you learn your lesson from this story and you keep away, or rather you take your time to learn the people you are associating yourself with, because it is important. See you during the next video. Bye-bye and God bless.